Come on. Can you guys access this video? I'll post it in the...
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, I don't know. It says it's private for me, and I cannot see it without signing in. Anyways, so I think we can get started. I have the agenda prepared by... Let me share the agenda. Can you folks see it?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. I can add the attendees. So we have Sergey, Samir, Cody, Zach. So the first thing that they had on the agenda was that the Notary project repository got renamed. This is already done. I saw those changes. I think that's more FYI. Coming to kind of reminding items. So we have a couple of things that actually we need to have reviewed. I do not remember what this one was about. Okay, that just needs approval. All comments are addressed as far as I can see. And there is ask from me to have approval by me and Pritesh and Milind eventually. So we have only 2 maintainer approvals as far as I can see here. So Samir, would you mind kind of pinging Milind, Nias, Pritesh, if they can get their approvals? I will review it today and I'll get also, if everything is fine, I will approve it.
Yeah, I can ping.
Yep. Let me just capture the notes. Okay, the next one is 263 in the specifications, which I would assume is something similar. Actually, that's for the README. I don't think that I have reviewed this one. But I see that Milind made some comments. About that. So this is the README of the specifications repository. Maybe Samir, if you can take a look and again ping Milind, Nias, and Pritesh. I'll have the similar comment of this one.
I can do that. I think on this one, it's only Milind and Pritesh, and this and the one above are the maintainers. So I'll ping them.
Well, I believe we need more maintainers on this this particular README.
Okay.
Yeah. This is actually the README for the repository, the specifications repository. So I'll take a look also. Let's see if we can get at least like 50% approval on this.
Hey, on this one, I noticed a comment. We were talking about the Notary V2 journey. That was the old comment, right? I see the Notary V2 journey, line number 97.
Yeah, that's what I also noted. I think, yeah, a lot of this information is removed. So I need to see the final document. So I need to go and review this. I think a lot of things got removed, but I am not sure what is the final. How can I?
This is in the specification repo, right? I thought the
Yeah.
terminology and all that is moved to the GitHub repo.
Yeah, but we still need to have some description what this repo is about, and
Okay,
my browser
makes
is
sense.
failing, so I cannot. So I'll take a look and I'll review it later today. The next one is on the GitHub repo. So I addressed all the comments. I pinged Milind over Slack, asking him to review that. But Samir, if you can go and kind of again do your review. I addressed your comments also. One of the things is that kind of you and Milind asked different things. So I kept Milind's comments, and let me know if that's okay. Please take a look, because you had some comments. I want to make sure that we are on the same page there.
Okay.
But if you can go ask Milind, Nias, Pritesh to actually get their approval on this PR. This is for the GitHub repository.
Okay.
Which should be kind of the main explanation of the whole project, right? And we'll refer to this one from any other repository.
Okay.
Okay, and I will address the DCO errors. So that will be done. Okay, the last one is Notary project dev that needs both Samir and Zach's approvals. So let me take a look at what exactly is this.
Yeah, we have my approval. I think Samir gave some feedback.
That's on the glossary. Okay.
Yeah, just look all the way down at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
This glossary should also be in the GitHub, right? Or is this gonna be a different? Shouldn't this glossary just pick up in what we put in .github?
I actually have not reviewed this one, so I cannot say.
Okay.
I mean, I'm all for having unified content and not replicating it. So if it's in the .github, you know, I think this PR should probably be refactored to point to that location, so that we're not duplicating content. I'm not really in the loop on the work on this, and I didn't really realize this was a blocker for 1.0.
Yeah, I don't think this is a blocker for 1.0.
Agreed. And I'm just pointing
Yeah.
to the GitHub repo is the right thing, because people need to go there. Otherwise, we'll have to keep editing it in two places.
So what do we mean with the GitHub repo?
The glossary, right? Like the terms that you're defining of what tough is, what notation is, and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so that currently there's a version of that that lives in the .github repo of the Notary project org. Is that correct?
I don't think there is a version in the .github repo of that.
Sorry, that's your PR, right? To check in these terms.
Yeah,
and
that's
what
the overview, but we don't have like a glossary per se. That as a section, right? Sorry, I forgot to turn on my camera. We don't have a glossary as a section in the GitHub repo, so
Right.
it's just
But
the
either way,
overview
this is
page.
not blocking, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Let me just say that this is not blocking for release. We can add after the release.
That came from Yi because I got a message from him this morning saying, please review this. We need it for the 1.0 release.
I am not sure why this is considered like.
Yeah, we'll
blocking for
follow
the
up.
1 point.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll
we'll
follow
follow up. Yeah, we can. I can follow up. I have a one-on-one with he today, so I'll follow up with him. Why is that? Okay, so I think for now the kind of the most important things are like this PR 32 in the .github. So Samir, I'm looking for kind of your help to work with Pritesh, Milind, Nias. I'm getting that going. And Sajay, as far as I remember, we had a few readmes that we wanted to get before. I don't see them in the list here. Just one, which is this one, the specification one.
Can you open the notation release PR? That has the blocking set of issues. I thought you copied it from there, but maybe not.
Notation release PR. Let me try to do that. Okay. Do you know which one is the release PR? This one? I don't see blocking here. This is the, this is update the release checklist.
Oh, is it an issue?
I do not know. Let me check. Release notation 1.0.
Yes, that has the full.
Okay. Okay. I don't know why the glossary is here.
Okay, let's move that out. We'll talk to Shu and Yi today. I don't think that's necessary. Yeah. But what about the others? Are we good on those? We still have.
We still have. So the README of the specifications is one of the PRs that we need to approve. That's actually in the list. So I will go and review that. Samir will work. We discussed this one.
If you look at the last checkbox too, you'll see the glossary MD task.
Yes, I think we need to remove that.
Is that glossary the FAQ that actually Milind was asking for?
I think it's the item that we were just talking about that we said wasn't part of the release.
Yeah. It is that item, but I am wondering whether the glossary is the FAQ that Milind wanted to have. I believe I had some discussion, so I'm confused between. This is the first time I see glossary. Maybe I missed some part, but I know about ask to have frequent ask questions on the website that we wanted to publish, but not. I don't know whether that got renamed glossary.
There.
So I was out next.
Yeah, FAQ is already there. Like there's currently a published FAQ page, and I kind of half remember somebody asking, hey, can we have a entry in the FAQ that delineates all the notary project terms and
Yeah,
clarify
that
stuff?
was the ask. Mhm.
Okay, yeah, I don't know if I agree with you. I don't know if the glossary is part of that or whatever, but I thought that we actually already had a PR on that too. That's separate from the glossary PR.
Okay, then I think that one was the one that was blocking, not the glossary. So let me follow up with he and now clarify. Else, everything else is what we just discussed, right? So those are items that we just discussed. So we need to do this one, and this one as soon as possible, and then we can do a release of the specification. Make sense, Sajid? You're muted.
Yeah, the specification release, who's driving it right now?
That's he.
Okay.
But
Is there anything pending on the specification? Sorry.
I don't think so. Only kind of terminology in the on the readmes. So I don't think there is anything that is
Okay,
pending
so
on the
once the README
specification.
PR is done, we can start the release for specification, right?
I believe so. That's my understanding. So
Okay.
I see everything is addressed in the specification as comments.
And this is pending on
I think it's pending
Milind and-
approvals. Yeah.
Okay. Who do we need approval from? All right.
So
Either
we
Niaz
need,
or
again,
Pritesh.
Millennials, Pritesh.
Okay. Thanks, Amir, for following up anyway. I think this is probably really important to unblock notation.
Yep. We just start this one. Say by maintainers. Actually, okay. Anything else about the release?
I have something on the side about the refactor discussion that we've been having. I don't know if you want to count that as part of the release or not.
Is that about the?
It's not about the
Sorry,
version.
version?
It's this is the refactoring of the docs directory structure tied into like the version conversation that we were having at the last community call.
Okay, let me just see. Yeah, that's actually the last agenda item that he had was the release specification after the above two items are done. So I think we can do that in parallel though. So we can get the approvals of the spec release in parallel of approving the other. Yes. So Zach, you said you have an item. What exactly it is? I'll add it to the notes.
I dropped a link into the chat as a follow-up from the community meeting on Tuesday. I added a comment to the pull request that Rosalind had around the directory structure refactor that takes into account the idea that we're not going to apply a version to the first release. And I dropped in a proposed structure that comports with that. Rosalind responded, and I give a thumbs up. Hers was a pretty straightforward and minimal change to the layout that I proposed. And so I need feedback from, I listed a bunch of people in my comment, but I think Toddy, you're on there, Sajay, you're on there. I believe Samir, you might be on there. Just give me a thumbs up, thumbs down. You know, this is terrible. What other things do you want changed? That sort of stuff. It can be done asynchronously. We don't have to do it on this call, but it'd be nice to get some feedback on that. And so then we can give Rosalind the thumbs up to actually apply those changes and then get this thing merged.
This will be the new structure that you're proposing, right?
Correct. I mean, you could take a look at Rosalind's proposal down there because it's updated with sort of her idea on something, which is fine. Like I have no objection to it.
I went through just one round for auras with Terry, and we kind of like wondered if the quick starts can be moved up, because I think the overview, even concepts. What is your general thinking on this?
Yeah, I'm fine with quick starts being the top item. It doesn't bother me. I mean, the order is not a big deal. It's very easy to change. It's just like it's the front matter change inside of the markdown file. We can put the quick start in if that's the most important thing, as opposed to overview. So I'm not tied to one or the other.
So in essence, Sajay, you're thinking of what Rosalind is proposing, right?
Yes. I'm also not sure if we need multiple quick starts and move the non-container image as a how-to or like an extension of the quick starts with the link. Typically like one, but if I'm okay either way.
That was just a specific. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's more like just keep it crisp as this is the quick start that you want to get started. Everything else is kind of additive over, or like can be. We'll have other how-tos, right? So I'm okay either way.
Sure. I mean, I think so. I believe that was a request from Feynman and from Yi. The case for it, in my opinion, is I think that the quick starts, you want to sort of target the primary use case or cases of what you're talking about. And I'm assuming that signing a non-container artifact is a primary use case of notation. So that's sort of why we have the two distinct quick starts. I know you're not pushing hard back against the Sajay. I'm just saying I think the primary argument for it is signing a image and then signing a non-image artifact. Those are kind of the two pretty big primary use cases of notation. Is my thinking correct on that?
Yep. I am a little bit bothered with the title non-container image. Like,
you could just say OC artifacts or artifacts.
Yeah,
I think it was a file name. I think it might have been my mistake when I put it in this outline, but I think the markdown file, I think it says artifact. If it doesn't, we can change it.
Yeah, I think this structure looks good to me. So I don't know. Let me review that one.
Yeah, I'll follow up.
That needs feedback from the community.
Hey, on that one, I agree. Those are the two use cases, but can they be differently? I know we talked about an artifact. Can we just say sign and validate any OCI artifact? Because we are not saying any container image, right? Because I've come across registries which are not OCI compliant. So I think, do we want to say sign and validate a container image in an OCI registry, sign and validate any OCI artifact in an OCI registry?
Yeah, I think this clarification may be useful, right? Because, like, as you said, if they are non-OCI compliant registries, will not be able to do that.
Okay, I think it's a valid piece of feedback. I think that's something that can be incorporated in a separate PR from the doc layout. But I definitely, we can, if it doesn't make sense to put it in the title, because adding that makes the title really long, but I agree with you. I do think that it makes that information more front and center and people can quickly scan it. It's something that can very easily be put at the beginning, like a big Danger Will Robinson warning box that says, you have to use an OCI compliant registry to sign an artifact. Is that Does that cover what we're talking about, Samir?
Yeah, that will do it.
Okay, thank you.
And hey, if I'm just thinking ahead, I'm thinking ahead probably a couple of months or maybe a year. I don't know when we'll do it, but as and when we do support signing and validating a non-OCI artifact in a non-OCI registry, that will just become the third use case on this list, right? That's the change which will happen.
Presumably, yes. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks. That helps me.
Yeah, I think it's just the matter of deciding does that sit in the how-to, or does that a primary use case that sits as a quick start? And I'm happy to have the discussion once the feature comes out.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else we have on the agenda or we would like to add to the agenda?
Yeah, I think I had a couple of things I was seeing. I didn't put them in the agenda. One was for last Monday's agenda. Is it a capital T, the Notary project, or a small t, the Notary project, or is the important in our branding? Is it the Notary project or it's just Notary project as our? I have some confusion about that.
That's a good question. I personally don't have, like, I don't consider the D important to the branding, but I'm open for any opinions.
No,
I've got no. Go ahead, Samir.
Yeah, sorry, Roddy, jump in. I think I was just at one point when we were discussing early on, we were thinking it's the Notary project. So anytime we refer to it, we'll add the capital D in front of it. But then as we were doing our doc, sometimes I saw it, sometimes I didn't. And then Yi came back and said, the capital D comes in when it is the beginning of the sentence. So it seems it's just it is just Notary project. The D is not important in front of it. If that's what we decide, I'm fine with it as well. I just wanted to go back if you got specific discussions at some point about how to use it or not.
I was capitalizing only when it is grammatically required to be capitalized at the beginning of a sentence, as E. And that was how I was using it so far. So for me, it's Notary project, not the Notary project. Go ahead, Zach, sorry. Sorry, Sajay, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I was just thinking about this. I don't think the D is a part of the project, primarily because all the repositories say Notary project. Everywhere we say we don't have an example like we don't say the open service mesh or the SIG store or anything like that. So to me, it's always been, yes, Notary project is what we are working on. It's not, we're not working on the Notary. I think it's more like a trademark kind of question here.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I think the is insignificant and should only be used when it's grammatically makes sense, and only capitalized when it grammatically makes sense. I know, I think I was under the impression that it was the Notary project, capital T, for a while in some of the work that I was doing. And then I think Yi had pushed back on some of the PRs saying, no, it's just Notary project. So, don't capitalize the if you're using the. I agree. I personally don't care one way or another, how it's used, but as long as we just make it a decision and then be consistent in the docs about it.
I have a question for you, Zach, as a native English speaking person. When you have a name of some entity, right, do you put D in it when you use it in sentences? Like, for example, we don't say the Zach did something.
Toddy, in this case, the Notary is an emphasis that's the complete name. Like, it's the one and only Notary project. The is used that case. So it's used as to distinguishing it from a single word. It's completely arbitrary at this point. Right? If you just want the lower casing of it would just mean that you're referring to notary. The notary becomes, with capitalized means it's the title of the thing. The is included.
Well, but if it is capitalized the, right?
If it's capitalized T, then you're thinking that's the complete title of the project, the notary.
Yeah, but we are saying that we will not capitalize it. And then,
Correct. So then it just becomes notary.
well, the full name is Notary Project. So notary and project are capitalized.
Correct. So the is just to reference the item.
Okay.
It's correct grammar to say the.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
I wasn't sure.
Yeah, if you're referring to it as a noun, adding the at the beginning makes it seem like less verbal gymnastics to make the sentence sound right. It's just like an easier transition.
Okay. Sajay, you have your hand still up. Do you have comment or it's just hanging there?
Legacy hand.
Coming back to kind of the Samir's question. So are we agreeing to use lowercase d?
I'd say, yeah, or just saying the is insignificant and not part of the title.
I mean, in most cases, do we even need that? Because you don't say things like
the SIG store or the OSM.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. Like you could say notary project is so and so. You don't need the notary project is foo. Just seems odd. But anyway,
I think having flexibility on how it's used and just agreeing that the is insignificant will make PRs a bit less pedantic and introduce less inconsistency in the doc set. Meaning, like, I think it'd be really hard to keep giving feedback on PRs that you don't use the instead of notary project. And I know that you weren't implying that we had to do that, but I think if we just stick with the line of the is insignificant, use it if you want, just don't capitalize it unless it's at the beginning of a sentence. That'll sort of cover all of our cases and be the most inclusive on contributions to the docs, and people don't have to think about it as hard.
Okay, so I personally, Zach, I have to say that I will need to rely on your knowledge of the English language when I write something.
Yeah, sure.
As an article. Yeah. Okay. Keep us consistent.
I think the
Samir?
most important thing in general is flexibility and like not being too pedantic, because if you push too hard on nitpicking minor grammatical things that aren't necessarily incorrect, no one wants to contribute to the doc. So you're fine, man. Don't worry about it.
Okay. Samir, we're good with that.
Yes, all good. Thank you. That clarifies it.
You said that you have more things.
Yeah, the other was a feedback on the that we should not rename the notary repo to notary-stuff. I know I just wanted to bring it up that I think 2 maintainers have spoken on that one. If we have made a decision on that one, we can just record that decision and say we are not renaming it, right? There was some feedback, I believe, from 2 of the maintainers. And if we are, so make sure our docs don't assume that that repo will be renamed.
I have not seen this feedback. Do you have a link to that?
There's so many GitHub messages, right? I think there was I think go back to the Yi document where he was talking about all the things which have to be done for 1.0 and post 1.0. There's a PR there, and there's a feedback on that PR.
PR to not this one, not this one, not.
Just to clarify, for some reason, I have it in my head that you all were removing the notary V1/tough portion to another org. I thought that was a discussion at some point in time, or is that still living in the notary project repo?
Sorry, Zach, can you repeat that? I wasn't paying attention.
Sure. Some part of me remembers a conversation that you all were planning on relocating that notary tough repo to a different org and out of the notary project repo. I could be completely misremembering that, But is this going to stay and just be renamed and archived, or is it going to live somewhere else?
I think the decision was to stay, to rename it under and be notary-tuff, and eventually keep it for as long as kind of Docker Content Trust is alive, and after that archive it. That was, I think, the plan that we discussed.
Yeah, I put the issue in chat. If you can click on that, it will
Okay.
take.
Sorry, let me put it in this browser here. Okay, those are two of the maintainers of the Notary repository.
I believe so, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So I think if a decision is made, then we can just close it and move on and not.
Okay.
Or if anybody wants to push back and say, here's the reason for it, which I thought the PR did already.
Okay. Yeah, let's close on this one and leave it as it is.
Yeah, that was
Anything
it.
else?
No,
Okay.
that was...
Anything else? Anybody? Sajay, Roy, Zach, Samir?
I had nothing.
Okay. Then yeah. So Samir, I think you and I have quite some work on kind of moving those PRs going forward. And if we can actually get some closure before Monday, that will be good. So we can make some decision on Monday for the release. Make sense?
Yes. Sorry, I was muted. Yes.
Yep. Okay.
Planning the
Awesome.
request.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, folks.
Have a nice day.